Hello! Welcome to SporkShark Arts. Here I will be doing a dragon design in which I will be able to create a design on dragon ideas. Some of them will kind of consist on various different types of animal types, or maybe ones from imagination. So let's get going. As you can see, I'm doing the sketching and the line work and things like that. So right here, I'm kind of making like a horse design in which I'm sketching out the teeth. And so it's kind of like a buck tooth shape, kind of like beaver type of shape. The nose is kind of, and the mouth is kind of shaped as a horse. There's teeth that are kind of look a little bit alien-like. It kind of shows or mimics kind of like the skull of a horse, in which, if you haven't seen a horse without its skin on, usually the skull has pretty much big teeth, in which there's a lot of molars, and the length of the mouth. So I kind of played with that, and I added a simple type of kind of consistency in how I shaped the design. Here I kind of put, like, instead of just, maybe a pair of eyes, I put maybe 2 pairs of eyes. And here I'm working with the horns. I kind of grapple with kind of designing them in a way that's a little bit that would fit within the page, but also kind of like gives it a sort of style unique to its design. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the horn designs, and so I wanted to fill the empty space above its head. Here I kind of put in a little bit of, like, I don't know, maybe some type of scabs or something like that, something sticking out, kind of like maybe like volcanoes, or it mimics kind of like that, like a protruding type of bump. Here I kind of do the throat, and I do the back as well. Once I start coloring it in, then it'll kind of show what color of the back and how that kind of adds into the hind part of the head. And as I'm sketching, I'm kind of like trying to figure out how to add the tongue, what design I want the tongue. So as you can see, there's a horse-shaped type of dragon, and then I move on to the next one, which is more of like a nature type, in which I kind of design a mountain-esque type of dragon. So here I kind of start with a long mouth again, but this time it's kind of like irregular, kind of like ugly teeth, but that adds to kind of the overall design or the shape of kind of like an olden dragon. Maybe it's a fire type, and it's trying to mimic kind of like volcanic earth, or cracks in which there's heat emerging and mixed in with a sort of nature aspect in which there's autumn. And I design again 2 pairs of eyes, one a bigger one, something similar to like an elephant, and the smaller one maybe for long distance. The elephant eye is for side view, and the smaller eye is for long view. As you can see, it's pretty old, so it has some of its skin hanging down from its throat. At the top, I'm kind of like mimicking kind of cracked earth, and here I have the horns as more of a kind of like a tree or a branch type of design, in which I incorporate some form of nature as its horns, different from maybe regular horns in which it's used for maybe mating or territorial disputes and things like that. This is more of it shows its age or its wisdom as it grows, just like how a tree grows. Here, the nose is also similar to kind of like a dog's nose, or more of a rabbit's nose. And then here I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do for the horn at the top, but later on I'll figure out how to kind of add that in. So here's kind of the major design of the dragon. It looks a little bit kind of like cracked earth. So we're gonna move on to the next design, which I kind of wanted to go over. It's one of my favorite designs because it incorporates like a fish design, kind of like bass or any type of big fish that usually people go out for fishing or game hunting. And so I start with kind of like the horns on the top, maybe not the horns, but more the scales that come out from the head to the neck on its backside. And so here I'm kind of like designing in the eyes, and I'll probably add the nose in as well, and then maybe give it a little bit of a line down its nose. And here I'm kind of like trying to figure out the design of how to shape the face. I wanted to put in some teeth, and that kind of acts as more of like a protruding figure that kind of signifies as not only part fish but also part dragon. Here on to the left is kind of its gills. Instead of its gills being on the inside, it's actually on the outside, exposed. So it's kind of like a water dragon that has like a fish type of design. Here I kind of make an alien dragon, which is a mix between an anteater and like a rabbit or kind of like a camel. And so I wanted to make kind of like this thin design, Ultraman type design, and so it looks like a mix between a rabbit and a camel, and also an anteater once I add in the tongue. So I go back and do the horn. I kind of mess up a little bit, and then I kind of finalize on a horn that kind of like adds to its design. I wasn't fully happy with that design, but it helped with kind of like adding in space or bringing a part of like structure to its forehead. Here, this is more of a deer dragon, so it's kind of like shy and it's very quiet. I was trying to figure out how to add in the horns, and I kind of made it more of like a, spaceship shape, kind of like sci-fi-esque type of design. I wanted to do more with it, but at the time I couldn't figure out how to kind of approach the shapes that I kind of drew, and so I was filling in the space with some shapes that would add to its volume and its anatomy. Here I'm going to add probably one of my favorite designs that I made. It imitates kind of like a mix between an iguana, a Komodo dragon, a lizard, and kind of a how would I explain it? Like a mythical dragon of like European type of design. And it has a long tongue, of course, for lizards. I liked how the eyes turned out because it's a very soft type of eye. It's not threatening, but it's a soft type of design to kind of depict that not only does it look scary, but it's actually quite, not as formidable as all of the other dragons. It looks more of a natural, organic anatomy. And so here I was trying to, I think we get to coloring. So when I was adding in the color, I had a ballpark type of idea of what color I wanted to put down, but I didn't know exactly how to put it down on canvas, so I was airbrushing it to get a start to kind of have practice on what type of colors I want to put in. Here I couldn't get quite the solid colors in, and I was kind of like practicing with the brush and just doing a general type of paint over. I didn't want to do too much because usually with painting I spend more time than drawing. I'm actually quite quick. Painting, not so much. I don't have that much, I guess, painter's eye. I have more of a line art, shape design that I can do better than actually painting. So I try what I can with the airbrush very quickly so then I don't, use too much time. But the colors, they tended to be a little bit off on the horse. It made him look kind of like a zombie shape, which I don't know if, or zombie design, which I don't know if that's what I was going for. But I wanted to make him kind of like a mix between like kind of like an alien one, where it's like on a planet that's earthen, like kind of like on Mars. But I couldn't figure out how to color him so then his shades weren't as, contrasting. I kind of wanted his color to kind of meld in with the dark blue, and I didn't want the dark blue too dark, so then it doesn't look out of place. Here I was kind of like doing in the eyes, and then I erased the sides, or the edges of where the airbrush had kind of painted over. And so I move on to the next one, which I think I like the color on this one because I like the age and I like kind of like the earthen feel, kind of mimics fire and things like that. Here actually I go into the brown, and I was finishing up kind of making him look more realistic and making the muscles kind of protrude out. Here is when I do the coloring for the dragon, in which he's supposed to mimic kind of like, warm earth, kind of autumn, dragon that's wise, green, pretty much like old earth, old forests in autumn. And so I kind of like try to give them a more red nose, and I add some sort of depth and things like that. I wanted the skin around the mouth to kind of mimic like dog skin. Huskies, they have like a darker mouth, in which if you kind of like pull back the lips, there's like dark skin around the teeth. So I wanted to mimic that in the dragon design, and so I come back with shading after I get in the main color, and then I work on kind of like the neck wrinkles. I put in some of the coloring for the teeth, and I kind of work on mixing the colors together. Usually I can mix red and oranges and yellows pretty well, and also browns, but when it comes to blues and greens, it's a really tough one for me. I don't know why, but I've kind of figured that that's a little bit harder. Here I'm trying to add in some of like the cracks that are visible, more of like the redness in the skin. And I try to make the head more prominent, in which the design is more believable and like in a 3D space, while also providing color. Again, I'm practicing on, coloring and getting kind of like that practice in on that knowledge and figuring out what colors go where, how to mix them together, how to blend them together, what areas you're supposed to put them on the face. For example, if you put green on maybe the nose, depending on how the character design is, like for example this one, it might not look so good, but if you add maybe red or orange, darker orange, then it might pop as like a believable theme color for maybe the dragon design. So I add in some depth to the teeth, and then I kind of go in with some details to make it pop a little bit instead of being flat. I add in some more depth, and then I kind of clean around the edges and make sure that the paint doesn't bleed over into the other designs. So now I think I'm going to be doing, I'm doing the alien dragon. This one is really nice. I love the coloring that I did because it mixes in purple and light blues and things like that and gives it a very like, I don't know, very like, you know, gray alien type of design and color. It goes well with the design if it's kind of like futuristic or, you know, space sci-fi, and it adds in more of like like a really like extraterrestrial type of feel to kind of like how the dragon is designed, maybe space dragons or dragons from like another planet, and they come here as like kind of like an ET mix. Here I'm doing the Komodo dragon or the lizard one. This one I kind of had an overall color and idea to how I would kind of paint the dragon. I really love the design of the mouth. It kind of adds in with more of the kind of like the neck shape, and then I add in kind of a color that kind of mimics that type of tropical jungle type of feel. I couldn't figure out how to make them dark enough, but also not too dark that the whole color scheme, you know, just seems muddied or muted, or just too dark to be able to be seen as like the distinctive shapes or the distinctive colors. So I put in some blues to kind of give it a contrast. It seemed a little bit of a like a gray fog when I was doing it. The colors didn't seem that very deep enough. It seemed more of like kind of like you know, really light airbrush. Here I do the teeth, but I couldn't get the color quite right, so I had to kind of erase and then add in the color again. It made him look like he didn't brush his teeth for many years, and I didn't want him to look like that. I think I was trying to have him a whiter teeth color, so then it would look probably more like an actual lizard. I kind of like messed up the coloring for this design, and I kind of got a little bit disgruntled about it. The coloring seems kind of off for this dragon, but I tried to, you know, make it up by adding more color on top of it, and then having it blend in ways that maybe would try to give an overall ballpark type of coloring design for the lizard dragon. And so I tried to kind of like, you know, add in more color around its muzzle and really see if I can kind of get that scheme to work. And then again, I kind of erase around the edges, and I make sure that, you know, where the line work is, the color stops. Then I go in with the teeth because that's not the color that I wanted. And I added in a little bit of white, or I think I erased it. Here, this is my favorite design, and I'm starting with the coloring since I got more practice in the other ones. Now I know kind of where to put the airbrush and where to kind of like mix it and add in the color. If first I have to start with maybe lighter colors and then go with darker colors. And I go to the parts that I like the most, which is the gills. I love that red color that you usually find in maybe sushi or salmon. I've liked that color because it's kind of it gives you the sense that it's very fresh. It's really lifelike. It mimics type of skin color, and so skin color is very, you know, you can kind of like see the blood underneath, and you can see like the redness and the kind of like the warmth of what's underneath the skin. It's not like kind of maybe the lizard color or some of the color that I've been putting into the horse where it looks kind of like zombie. There's a lot of life if you put in red and oranges into your design. It contrasts something that might like look like it's dead, or like a necromancer, because red and oranges kind of mimic like blood. And so when you have something that looks very very dead or has been deceased, that usually goes into kind of grayed blues and greens. If you want to add something that has more of like a life to it, then you usually add some sort of pink or some sort of lighter orange. Here at the I think, I don't know, the head horns, or the little mane down its back, like the main horns. I kind of added that color, and I really liked how that design went. It kind of added a sort of more of a like a three-dimensional feel instead of it making it feel like it's, you know, just kind of like a sketch. Here I kind of like messed up with the eyes, but I wanted its eyes to kind of be very, you know, just very on point, very direct, very like kind of like impacts the viewer when they look at it. I was trying to give it a gray color, but I think it would have kind of took away from the overall type of personality I wanted to have. And so here I have the deer dragon, which the horns, I tried to figure out what type of design I wanted it to have. I was trying to fill the space, but I didn't have enough space to make, you know, believable horns. So here I was kind of like having a surreal type of coloring effect. It looks a lot, it reminds me a lot of like Polygon from Pokemon. I think I'm saying that right, but I don't know too sure. Mixed with like a deer and like an alien, so, and a bug. So here I kind of have the head design. The eyes have that type of shading that usually bug eyes have. The head is more of like an alien type, and it's supposed to be very like very docile, timid, kind of like deer. And it's meant to be kind of like very sensitive. It's very like it's not as aggressive as maybe like, you know, the horse dragon or the, you know, the orange dragon. So I kind of added these colors in because I was feeling kind of like these types of colors. I don't know if they actually work, but it does add to some of its personality and its design. I just wish I could have improved upon its sketch a little bit more and kind of added more of like believable colors, but I think this color scheme actually works very nice. It's just in its own way. So now I kind of erase around the edges. I add in some last minute touches, and I think maybe at this part I add in the background. Oh, no. I add in the eye colors. So I'd go into the details of maybe what I've missed, and I try to add more of like color to the eyes, so then the sketch doesn't come through in the color design. So now I kind of add in the background. I couldn't figure out what color was a nice color. I know in some DeviantArt pages for concept art or online concept art that a lot of artists have done, they add in sort of a background to contrast kind of like the main color scheme of the design or the character design that they've kind of sketched out. They would have it colored, and then they would have a background in which they would add in like maybe a really light color to kind of have the main characters and the main designs pop. So here I was trying to figure out what type of background I wanted. This one seemed a little too flat, so I tried to add in a design pattern behind it to kind of mimic the feeling that I wanted to have of the overall designs that I've kind of put together. I was kind of going for like a you know, T-Rex-esque but fantasy way in which, you know, the bumps on skin or the bumps on scales and things like that. And I wanted to kind of like add in more of like a background that had some sort of texture to it. So I believe that's it for the walkthrough, in which I was kind of like critiquing my own design, and I was adding commentary about how I kind of got through with designing the designs that I had. If you want to have a look through of the image, the PNG file, or the ending image, and get access to it, it's on my Patreon. Feel free to look through and kind of look through the extra content that's on there and browse and see kind of like what I'm making. Again, it was nice meeting everyone and sharing kind of like my idea, and I pretty much one of the first videos of character design and concept art that I kind of put together. It's my first, so it's not going to be the most professional one, but it is what it is, and I did give it a try. Thank you. Bye.